The promise begins with a man named Rishi who is shown running his family business, and today at his success party, we can also see his entire family and his wife enter. Everyone was very happy, but since Hunter got married, she began to feel lonely because apart from Hunter, her entire family would leave for business. She felt very alone at home, unable to shake off the loneliness. She would either play games, sketch or cook, but despite all that, she would still feel exhausted. Afraid, she spent the whole day waiting for Gabari ji to come home and speak to her. The chair took more, but whenever she tried speaking to Guruji, Rishi was always engrossed in his phone. First, she never got the attention she wanted. Days went by like this, until one day, she discovered she was pregnant. She was thrilled and shared the news with Rishi. Rishi was overjoyed. He organized a family dinner to share this big news with his parents. Everyone was ecstatic upon hearing the news, and at that moment, she wanted to tell everyone her story of discovering her pregnancy. However, once again, Rishi's dad interrupted her, and they were engaged in a discussion. One felt so isolated that she didn't even feel angry. She looked at the table and saw some ice in a glass, and in her frustration, she started eating the ice, which annoyed everyone with a sound. However, as her mum understood her, they thought she did this because of her pregnancy. Often, girls get depressed in such conditions. Therefore, the next morning, to alleviate her depression, she gives her a book. She wanted Rishi's mum to sit and talk with her, but Rishi's mum also left. She starts reading the book. The book contained advice for Rishi. To ease her depression, she should try something new daily, something she hadn't done or expected to do. With this thought, a strange idea came to her and she picked up a marble ball and ate it. Surprisingly, after eating it, she felt better than ever. A bit later, when Rishi was talking, he noticed Hunter was very happy. Happier than in recent days. So Rishi asked why she was so happy. Hunter replied, "Today I did something unexpected and that's why I'm feeling very happy with myself." When asked what exactly she did, we fib at that moment. The next morning, we see Hunter doing even more impressive work. She retrieves the marble ball from the previous day from her stew base. While she was feeling lonely just hours ago, now Rishi's mum is bombarding her with 100 questions. What did she perhaps say before? What did her family do? Hunter, who came from a middle-class background, felt a bit embarrassed sharing about herself. Listening to all this, Rishi's mother says, "So, you must feel very fortunate that you married Rishi and..." The world seemed different. She was even more upset as she still wasn't content with her lies. Today she felt so bad that to ease her feelings, she started cleaning, and that's when the thumbtack got caught in the vacuum. As it was sharp, yet Hunter felt like eating it. She even put it in her mouth, but it pricked her tongue. At first, she took it out and left it on the kitchen counter, but all day she felt like she should eat it. In a burst of energy, she put the thumbtack in her mouth and finally took it out while eating. The thumbtack had scraped through her entire food pipe. It caused more injuries inside her body, but she'd eaten the thumbtack regardless. She was singing a very good film. In the evening, Rishi came over to the house to party with his friends. Hunter was supposed to go out too, but then she started to experience severe stomach pain. When she went to the washroom, the thumbtack came out, but after that, a lot of blood came out of her body because of the thumbtack. She was in a lot of pain as well. Rishi came into the room looking for her, but she had cleaned up all the blood before he came downstairs. Rishi must not discover anything at all. A short period later, one of Rishi's acquaintances arrives. He extends his congratulations to Hunter on becoming a mother and then mentions that he feels quite isolated at the gathering. He inquires if he might offer her a hug. She embraces him and it appears that Hunter desired the embrace more than he did. As time went on, we observed that Hunter's behavior was undergoing a significant transformation. She began consuming items that ordinary individuals could not digest, such as small batteries and safety pins. And there were numerous such items that she would subsequently extract from her toothpaste and systematically organize. And she had meticulously arranged them like a processor too. Several days pass, and Hunter needs to go to the hospital for her routine checkup. During the ultrasound, the doctor finds that, while the baby is normal, there is a strange object in the egg sac. Seeing this, the doctor quickly suggests urgent surgery. As the surgery on the egg begins, many strange items are taken out from her intestines, like safety pins and marbles. After the surgery, the doctors discuss her condition and realize she has a psychological disorder. She was afflicted with a psychological disorder, a mental illness characterized by an overwhelming compulsion to consume items that are not meant to be eaten. Upon hearing all of this, he became exceedingly angry. He approached with a pestle and reprimanded Hunter extensively. This behavior was not something he anticipated from Hunter. He removed all the items from the room that could potentially be consumed, but he was unaware that Hunter had the capability to eat virtually anything. Regardless, as troubled as he was, Richie's diet was even more concerning because they were anxious about Richie's baby. Consequently, they promptly arranged for they book a psychiatrist. While talking, the psychiatrist asks Hunter what she gets out of eating everything, and she explains that when she puts such things in her mouth, she really enjoys the sensation. She finds the textures of these things very pleasing. At this point, the psychiatrist realizes that she hasn't stopped eating these things. She informs Richie about this, and Richie then hires a bodyguard for Hunter who would be with her 24 hours a day. The bodyguard was to keep an eye on her so that Hunter wouldn't eat anything inappropriate, and the presence of this bodyguard made Hunter even more frustrated. She becomes angry. Here, we see that the guide also did not like all of Hunter's antics. He was strangely upset and distant with Hunter. This was his own thinking. He wondered why, despite living in such a large house with every facility, Hunter could have developed a mental illness. Could she not be happy even in such a big house? Anyway, the bodyguard was keeping a close watch on Hunter in every way. But even at 100, the bathroom, she would end up eating something she shouldn't have. Now, a few days later, her birthday was coming up. She organized a very grand party and was happily meeting everyone there. Although she didn't really like socializing, today she felt more complete. Everyone was talking to her about her eating disorder, and learning all this made her very aware. She said to Richie, "Was it necessary to tell everyone about my illness?" But Richie said, "I was only thinking about your well-being." However, this upset her so much that Hunter went downstairs at night to her. She even tells him to apologize. The next day arrives, and the therapist comes again. Hunter felt really good talking to the therapist today because she just wanted to talk. After the therapist leaves, she goes to the garden and starts taking care of the plants. Although at that time, her heart also tells her to eat all the soil, she controls herself. Now, as she goes to the washroom to wash her hands, she hears that Richie is paying the therapist to tell him everything Hunter says. Hearing this, Hunter becomes extremely panicked, wondering what things the therapist might have told him. She might have told them. She was shattered. She felt hurt but didn't show it. She cried deeply. To hide, she went under the blanket, and just then, her car came to her while searching under the bag. Her guard noticed her condition today. He began to understand her loneliness. He didn't say anything, just placed his hand on her shoulder and lay beside her. After a while, when Hunter opened her eyes, she saw the guard had also fallen asleep there. She got out of bed, but her anger hadn't subsided. Due to this anger, she again felt the urge to eat inappropriate things and started looking for clothes and fried items. She felt the urge to find things she could eat. She found a screwdriver there and decided to take it. However, taking it made her condition much worse. The screwdriver got stuck in her throat, causing strange noises to come from her throat, and she collapsed. Hearing the noise, her guard also got up and immediately looked at her. Her condition was so bad that he called an ambulance. She was taken to the hospital, where after an operation, the screwdriver was removed from her throat. Fortunately, her baby was unharmed. Now, Richie and Richie's family were more concerned about Hunter's baby than Hunter herself. Therefore, they decided to send Hunter to a psychiatric hospital, where she would be monitored 24 hours a day, ensuring the baby's safety. After the baby is born, she would be free, or she might return home. Although she wasn't agreeing, Rishi, "If you don't sign these papers, I'll divorce you." So, she had to agree to everything. Her guard, who was starting to understand her feelings, began to feel sympathetic towards Hunter's situation. The next day, the whole family, with the guard, is shown going downstairs to see Hunter off. Suddenly, Hunter goes back inside the house, pretending to fetch her charger, and her guard follows her. The guard sees Hunter is trying to escape. This time, he felt compassion for her and, instead of telling anyone, gave Hunter a chance to escape. When everyone else came inside, he distracted them by saying she went the other way. To distract them, it was said that she ran off in the other direction. However, shortly afterwards, we were shown that Hunter, having run through the forest path, had arrived at a hotel. There, she first took a lot of small things from the hotel's brother and then booked a room inside the hotel to take her food. After a short period of time, she contacts Richie and informs him that she has departed. She expresses that she no longer wishes to remain with him and was only having this child because of him, but he never genuinely accepted her. He didn't devote time to her, and now he's threatening her with divorce, and she no longer desires the baby. Hearing all this made someone very upset. Before Hunter could take any drastic action, they plead with her not to do so, to let it go and return. When Hunter remains silent, Risky elaborates to her, "Look, you possess no skills, no qualifications. You cannot survive in this world like this. You won't be able to do it. You need my support," but she doesn't listen to a word. Richie says and hangs up the call. She spends the whole night watching TV and eating snacks. The next day, she leaves that hotel as well and calls her mom. She tells her about all these things happening to her. She was angry with herself today. She knew why all this was happening to her. This issue wasn't new to her. It had been there since childhood, because her biological father, her real dad, had left her. Her mom was very religious, which is why she came into this world. Otherwise, she might not have been born at all. These feelings have stayed with her until today. She had resolved today that she would finally meet her biological father. After persuading her mother to provide his address, she makes her way to his residence. Upon her arrival, she observes that a birthday celebration is underway. It was a birthday party of her half-brother, the son of that man. They did not inquire anything of Hanta because they presumed she was the mother of one of their son's friends. However, she disclosed that she was not merely a guest but indeed their daughter. Hearing this revelation, he takes her aside and inquires why she has come here. Nevertheless, she turns the tables and questions him as to why he abandoned her. Why did you stay with my mum if you didn't want to? He doesn't say much, just admits, yes, I acknowledge it was my mistake. I shouldn't have done all that. But at the time, I felt very powerful. And in that intoxication of power, I treated your mum very badly. However, after spending 7 years in prison in this life, I realized the difference between right and wrong. As he says these things, he becomes very emotional. Hanta feels that this man is ashamed of his actions, so she says nothing and leaves. Now, even her mum has refused to keep her, and she had already left Rishi's house. She now had to move on with her own life. She needed to move forward. She aspired to advance as she wished, so she consulted a medical professional, acquired an abortion bill, and proceeded with her abortion in a public restroom. She understood that her actions were justified. She was not yet ready to assume responsibility, so she couldn't jeopardize a child's life in the same manner as hers had been. After conversing with her father, her perspective had altered considerably, and now she was prepared to embrace a new chapter in her life. And with this, Hunter's narrative concludes.